Hello everyone, it's Sky here and welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you're new. Today we're going to be working on part 3 of our color along. We've been working in Hannah Lynn's Mythical Maidens, and the page that we have been working on is Willow Dryad. I'm so excited to continue on her. I haven't really made any other color decisions, so like I said, from part 2, we're just going to kind of continue up with her and kind of go from there. So this was voted on by our channel members. If you haven't watched the first 2 parts, I highly recommend going to do so. It's my first day on my vacation, which I was hoping to have this recorded by now, but I kind of figured with everything going on with Miko that I'd end up being a little bit late with this, but that's totally fine. We will definitely get it done. So it's actually morning right now. I'm going to use the natural light that I almost never get to use. So hopefully the lighting is okay in this part. I feel like natural light is always better anyways. We do have a couple people mowing the lawn, so hopefully the sound isn't being picked up by my mic too much, but I can always reduce the background noise if necessary. Since it's early, no booze today, but I am starting in with my green juice that I get from Good Protein. Helps with my IBS, so I try to drink it every morning, and actually I do find that it really has made a difference in my life. So if you suffer with any tummy problems, highly recommend that stuff. If you're in Canada anyways, it's fairly cheap. I think I'm subscribed, so I pay a little bit less, but I think it's roughly like $35 a month for like a month's worth of juice. So it's pretty good, and it's just like this little pack that you mix in with your water each day. So it was definitely a game changer and lifesaver for me. So, and if you're in the US, Rain drinks a green juice called AG1. So that might be something to look into. All right, I don't think I'm going to zoom in too much for fear that I might accidentally go out of frame because, you know, it's been known to happen a time or two. So I think we'll leave her right about here. And we're going to continue on with our bark colors. As always, I have my pieces of paper in behind her. Yeah, let's get started. I'm a little bit torn on whether I want to, you know, kind of work my way down now that we have like a whole part. We're not just kind of trying to time fill right now. Part of me kind of wants to just tackle the roots first, but I also just kind of want to like get this part done too. Let's do the roots first. It's like the least fun part. Doing her face and like her body will be way more fun. So I think that's what we have to do. All right, so we're just going to do kind of the same thing that we have been doing. I'm going to take my 90% French gray, and I'm going to color it in along the bottom of this root and create a shadow here. Okay, I'm not quite sure where the shading is going to be on this one yet, but I'm going to kind of switch gears, and then the shading for these ones is actually going to be on the left side instead of the right. This, I think, goes all the way down. Unfortunately, it would actually be kind of cool if it kind of stopped here, but you can kind of tell because the lines that she has drawn in for like the texture of the wood is a little bit thinner than the outer lines, which is a bit thicker. So this is definitely an outer line of the trunk here, but I'm almost tempted to, no, I think it'll look funny. No, we'll bring it all the way down. I was gonna say I'm almost tempted to kind of create a little bit of like a bevel there, but we'll color it as intended. I'm really excited at how this page is coming along. I'm still uncertain about the mushrooms though. I was actually debating maybe a gray for those. I just, like I said in one of the parts, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2, but I don't want to go too bright and bold with the colors. I think I want the pink to stand out the most. Like, she is a mythical creature, so I do want her to be, you know, a little bit dramatic and different. And I think the pink will do that. Since I decided to go in with the gray instead of the brown, I'm not so much thinking streaks for her hair anymore. I am kind of debating actually doing her hair all pink and then actually outlining all of it and making it almost appear like it's glowing, but I'm not sure yet still. I'm still very much undecided. Let's do it on this side. Okay, so now let's figure out where our shadows and lighter bits are going to be for like the bark design. So I'm going to go underneath this one here, I think. Fade that out. Okay, I'm gonna go underneath this one just because I know this one here I think I want to be a lighter spot, so I'm gonna go with what I know first and kind of work backwards towards the rest. So just outlining this pattern here, fading it out. Let's make this lighter. It is kind of a bigger area, but I think it'll look okay. I don't want to use or go too light on a lot of bigger areas, but some of them should be okay, especially because up in like her body area, I think it's going to be quite a bit lighter. I doubt I'll be using as much shadow, so I'm okay if the if her legs, for lack of better words, are a little bit darker. Okay, so do we want to make this a light spot too? I don't know. Let's go underneath this one anyways. think we'll make this one a light spot because we're gonna have a light spot here, here, here. They're still gonna be a little bit lighter, but it's not gonna, the difference is like this one, for example, doesn't really have any of the 90% on it. It's all light. And then this one, even though it is a little bit lighter, it's coming out from the 90%. So this is kind of what I mean when I'm saying light spot, where it's quite a bit lighter. So this one will more be like a fade into a lighter area with the 90%. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a little bit confusing, I know. Try and put a shadow underneath these leaves, which is another part I'm struggling with. I don't know what color I want to do these. Okay, these ones are a bit more confusing. I think I'm gonna like drop this down as if there's a line here because I want to make this a little bit darker. I don't want to make this super light. So let's do that so we can add a little bit more shadow in there. We're going to bring our shadow down from here a fair ways. Let's darken our shadow on the bottom side of this line. We'll make this a light spot here, I think, and we'll make the rest dark. Okay. Don't really know about this spot. Let's maybe just like add a little bit of a shadow here because I don't really know what else to do. And then we'll leave maybe the rest of that a little bit lighter. This one, let's go in shadow on both sides of this. Will make this a little bit lighter. And then this one, I think I want the outside part to be lighter, so let's kind of outline this area. And this one. Yeah, I think I like that. That looks good. All right, so coming in with our 50% French now. So this is the one where we're just kind of adding it as a little bit of a shadow for our lighter areas. So a little bit here. Don't want to add too much of it, but just enough to give the light areas a little bit of interest as well. Otherwise it would just kind of look like one color. We don't want that. We want it to be lighter, but we still want it to look a little bit textured as well, I guess. This one here we'll add a little bit. And this one, it is kind of shadowed or like shaded a little bit from the shadow on the left side. So I don't think I'm going to add too much of the 50% here. Add a little bit just on this corner here. And I think that's probably about it for that one. Add a little bits to these ones here. Maybe a little bit here and here. And just a touch on that one because it's pretty small. All right, going in with our 30%. This is our main color here. And just like last time, we're mostly focusing this on the areas where we put in the 90%, and we are going to go over that and fade out with the 30%. We're still going to try to leave as many highlight areas as we can. This cab driver is obviously lost. He keeps driving up and down the street. Is actually one that I sometimes have to use in the winter. If the cab company that I use isn't running, I usually have to call these guys, and I can't stand them. This driver especially, he's just super rude. Keeps driving by, looking at the house numbers, looks at mine, throws up his hands, keeps driving. Not a lot of room on some of these. That's okay. We're just going to do what we can. Miss Lilo, you don't need in there. You don't? There's nothing in there for you. She's gonna take a cat nap in the moon chair, which originally was supposed to be my reading chair, but it has turned into the cat chair instead. Okay, so now from here, I actually can't quite remember what we did. I think we did the 20% in the lighter areas, and then we did the 10% as like a highlight over everywhere. I'm like 98% sure that's what we did, so that's what we'll do. So I guess, yeah, let's go in with that color. I'm gonna sharpen mine just a little bit here. So I'm just gonna bring this up from the 50%, I suppose. Still leaving room for highlights though. Although I think the 20% and the 10% are probably pretty close, that it wouldn't make too much of a difference, but I'm gonna add it in there anyways. Feel like that should be okay. It matches pretty close to the side that we've already colored. So that's usually always my biggest worry, if we're kind of stopping while coloring something and coming back to it, then I might color it a little bit differently and then it might look funny. So as long as it relatively looks the same, we should be fine. So now we're going to go in with our 10% French gray. And just like the last part, we're not going to bring this into the shadows too much unless we feel we have to. But for the most part, we're just going to add this into where we haven't colored. Blend it into our next closest color from there. Some areas like here, I might go back into the shadows a little bit more just because it doesn't really look, there's too many white spots in it, so I kind of want to try and get rid of them. But for the most part, just where we haven't colored. If you're wondering about the sound, Miss Lilo is having a drink. Yeah, I definitely feel like I don't use these grays nearly as much as I should. They are a little bit underrated, I think. I always think that they're too, I guess, neutral, but I feel like my coloring style has changed quite a bit over the years, and I know I've said that a few times. Or if you look at any of like my earlier colorings, they're very like bright and bold and vivid, and I mean they're pretty, don't get me wrong, I do really like them, but there's just something a little bit more appealing to me now in the kind of natural look of things. So it's definitely kind of interesting how our styles and tastes kind of change throughout the years. Still not a fan of red though. That's one thing that hasn't changed, and I don't think at this point it ever will. Okay, that looks so good. And now for the super fun part. Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay. So I'm gonna start with the French gray, and I'm gonna get some real pointy tips up in here. So I am not following the rules of lighting for this. So for example, our lighting is technically behind her, predominantly on this side. So most of our shadows, for example, the shadow on this tree would be on this side because the light would be hitting this side of the tree. So on these trees, it'd be the opposite. The light would be hitting here, so this part would be in shadow. Technically, the shadow for her would be on this side, but we're going to do it on this side. And the reasoning for that is I think it'll look better. And it just makes more sense to me, honestly. I don't know. Just kind of going with my gut here, but I mean, realistically, I guess with her hair kind of in the way, both this side would be in shadow and this side, but I don't think I'm going to put this side in shadow. I think I'm going to have that as our highlight. And since this is kind of such like a wide area, I am going to bring out the 90% French a little bit further than I have for any of these other areas. We're going to start by kind of blocking in our shadows and going from there. And I'm just going to go in lightly for now because we can come back in and darken it up. This will kind of give me a general idea. I do want some dark shadows underneath the leaves and stuff. I want those to pop out a little bit. And that'll also kind of help break up our highlights in here. I have a little bit of a shadow maybe coming out from the tops of these two in some areas. Just a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna color this as a light spot. That'll kind of help tie in the bark pattern up here. So the vine ends here, and then this is bark. Kind of jumping around all over the place. I think let's kind of focus on this area and then we'll tackle her face. I don't want to be jumping around too much. Okay, so yeah, quite a bit darker in here. I'm just continuously going over to layer and darken these shadows here. Okay, I think that's good for shadow. Look how pretty that is already. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, do we add the 50% gray in this? I'm a little bit uncertain because we really haven't added it anywhere aside from the lighter areas. I suppose we can add a little bit of it kind of coming out from the shadows. Let's do that. See what it looks like. Don't think I want to add too much of it, but let's sharpen this. I think it looks good. And we definitely do want a little bit of this color at the very least. We can put it in on this spot too here. 30% is next. I think the one we'll end up skipping is the 20%. We're going to skip from that straight to the 10. So I'm just going to bring this out from our shadows. Just making sure everything is nice and blended. And I'm going to fade it out. We're going to create, it's just a lighter area, especially along here, and just kind of a little bit in these bigger areas where we can. I'm so excited. It's always great where you get to that point in a picture where you just can't wait to see it done. I still have a lot of decisions to make between now and then though, which is the only part I don't like. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit more of this into here. There's just a little bit too much white poking through. I don't mind a little bit. I'm actually keeping a little bit of the white. I'm not fully burnishing anything. I like that texture, but if it looks to be a bit too much, I'm gonna try and dull it down a bit. Okay, French gray, I'm gonna give mine a good sharpen too. The 10%, I guess they're all French gray, aren't they? And let's work our way back into the shadows. We don't have to bring this in too far, but I am going to bring it in kind of over the lighter areas a little bit too. Absolutely beautiful. We'll zoom in a little bit for her face. I'm a little bit nervous, but also like very excited. So I don't want to like smudge anything on her face, so I actually think we should maybe tackle her face first. So with my 90% French gray, guys, we're just gonna dive right on in. We're just gonna do this. We're gonna do this thing. I'm gonna take a sip of my drink. I'm panicking a little bit. All right. So as always, we're just going to start with our shadows. So basically, we're going to be coloring the same as we would if this was normal skin. Or like not bark skin. The normal skin that we usually do. So for example, right now we would be going in with our Parma Violet, figuring out our shadows. We don't want to burnish anything quite yet. Create a little bit of a curve on her cheek here. Let's figure out her nose, which would be kind of pointing this side. Let's give her a pointy little nose. Fade that off. It looks good. I want her skin here very, very light. So we can have it a little bit darker, kind of coming out from behind her hair here. And then we're going to fade that into lightness. Have it a little bit darker coming underneath this. Fade that into a little bit of lightness. A little bit of a shadow under her hair strand here. Her neck is going to be fairly dark. And then same with this area here. We want this to be really dark. Create a little bit of a shadow underneath her hair here as well. Kind of going all the way up. Fade that out a little ways. This will be a light spot, I think. I think it makes the most sense to make that a light spot. Ooh, so excited. I think I want to take a picture of just how this is right now. There we go, more from that angle. I like that. All right, let's carry on. So let's make a little bit of a shadow here as well. I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing. I'm gonna go in a little bit darker. Not on her face though. I'm not going too much darker on her face. Same light pressure. We can darken up some of these shadows, just adding a little bit of pressure at the top. Mostly just layers. don't know how much I want to bring this out. Like, I want it to be a dominant color, but I don't want it to take over her whole face. We do want to have a fair bit of highlights, so maybe I should play it safe and just do minimal. So in that case, that's probably good. I do want the 50% in here. It'll kind of match with her body area. So I'm just lightly adding this in over top and coming out from the 90%. A little bit of 50% here on top of this one, this line. Bottom of this one. Okay, 30%. So this would kind of be like our peach. So far we've added our Parma Violet and our Nectar. Now we're going in with the peach. Just lightly, because we do want to add that, that blush to her face, which I am probably most excited about, actually. So even though I'm not really adding blush anywhere else, I'm still just lightly adding these layers. I want to make this part look a little bit smoother than we made everything else look. So it's going to look the same color-wise, but it's also going to look just a little bit different to kind of give it more of that skin feel. It's going to be as soft as bark skin comes. Oh, she's so pretty. Okay, I think we can add our blush. I don't know if I want to go super dark. I'm a little bit nervous. I actually didn't even grab these colors out, so I should probably do that. I grabbed the swatches, but I didn't actually grab the colors. So we want Process, Hot Pink, Nectar, and Deco Peach. Let's see, Nectar is there. And Deco Peach. I'm going to use the tiniest little bit of the Process Red, just at the very, very corners. Even smaller on this side, because since her face is turned, we're not going to see as much of her cheek here. So just the tiniest little triangle there. It's almost not even noticeable. Okay, Hot Pink is next. I just had those. Where did I put them? Did I not grab the Hot Pink? Oh, I did. It ran away. Okay, so just lightly adding this in. Bringing it out a little ways. Okay, the Nectar, I'm just going to put a little bit over top of this to kind of mute them down a little bit. I'm also just going to do a light layer of nectar on her lips. And then the Deco Peach is the one I'm going to kind of fully fade it out with. So I'm just going to bring it out a little bit further on the rest of her cheek, usually to about this line here. All right, now with that being done, now we can go in and be a little bit more serious about our color placement. So this is already pretty sharp, but I'm gonna sharpen it even more. I want the sharpest point possible on this because I really want to darken up these areas directly underneath her hairline and like some of these shadows areas without it being too thick. I want a really, really thin line because we don't have a lot of room to work with, so. I'm not sure if I'm going to add too much more out here. Just do a couple areas that don't look overly shadowed. Do want to add a little bit underneath her neck. Okay, I think that's good. Let's add a little bit more of the 50%. Bring this out a little bit from the shadows. All right, 30%. This one is not going to be our most dominant this time, but we are going to add a fair bit of it in here anyways. We're going to do the same as we did on the bottom. We're pretty much just going to skip the 10%, or sorry, the 20% altogether, I think. A little bit of a line here that just kind of indicates the other side of her nose. Okay, so I am going to go back in with my 90% French gray, just a little bit on her lips here. Just lightly. I want to mix the French gray in with the nectar. And then I did notice here, I thought this was a leaf at first, but it's like a curly part of the vine that kind of touches the leaf. So this is actually going to be her skin back in here. All right, so the only place that we're adding the 20% is just a little bit on this one. I don't think we need it on that one. There's not really much room. So then with that, we're gonna skip straight on to the 10%. I'm gonna start with a very light, gentle pressure, just kind of gently touching this in here, using little small circles to mix everything together as we go. So you'll notice this time I am going over everything with the 10% French gray. And the reason I'm doing that this time compared to the other times where we haven't is because I want to soften this up. That's what's going to give us that softer look to make it appear a little bit more like skin. I think this maybe should have been hair, but oh well, I'm gonna leave it. Just seems like it would be a bit too thick to be her arm. Like if this was her arm here, anatomically, I think it'd be a bit too thick for that to be correct, but I don't know, maybe not. Okay, so let's bring a little bit of the 50% French in her lips. I'm going to bring this out from the 90%. And then back in with the nectar, if I can grab my swatch card here. Let's just start lightly because I don't know how dark I want this. Just gonna lightly blush that over, and I think that's good there. Beautiful. Okay, her eyes are gonna be blue. So I'm gonna grab, I'll have to grab the swatches for this, but we're gonna use some of the same colors that we did for the background. So Let's see, let's do the peacock blue, light blue, sky blue light, and I'll keep the 10% French gray just in case. So let's see, peacock blue, light aqua, sky blue light. I think that's what this is, 1086. Yeah. I wish they put the numbers like right at the end of the barrel, because eventually I'm not going to know what this is. Okay, I want her eyes to be very, very soft. So the peacock blue is actually going to be our darkest color. And I am just going to blush it in at the very, very top here. Okay, just like that. And then the light aqua, I'm going to get a really nice sharp point on this one. Lightly bring this over the peacock blue and bring it down just a little bit. I'm going to make some little flicking motions with this one. Doesn't matter if they're not perfect, because we're going to kind of blur them out anyways. Now I don't know if I want to blur them out with the sky blue light or if I want to blur them out with the 10% cool gray, but let's just kind of, let's do the sky blue light first and see what it kind of looks like, so we can just start lightly going in with that circular motion. I think this one's good. Let's do that. So I'm going to go a little bit firmer, circular motion. Blending and burnishing everything. There we go. Look how pretty that looks. Very, very pretty. All right, let's see what we're at for time. We're not even an hour in. I really want to color her hair. I don't think we could get it done in half an hour though. Maybe we could. We could make this part a little bit longer. I'm pretty confident that I want her hair to be pink. All the way pink. Let me figure out what kind of pink. All right, I think I got it. Oops. Too much stuff on my desk. I think I got it figured. And I think we're going to use the same colors we did for her cheeks actually. So should be interesting. Oh my goodness. I gotta stop putting my swatch cards in the box. It never goes well. Let's see, the only other color that I might potentially need is the white, but I might be able to get away with using the sky blue light on her hair to burnish, which sounds really weird, I know, but it would look really good actually. Let's pull up a reference for her hair because I don't want to mess this up. All right, I've realized that reference doesn't really help me, to be honest. So, because nobody's done what I want to do. So, let's start in with our processed red. I'm going to go very, very, very light. because I don't exactly know how to pull off what I would like. Because I kind of want a flat color for her hair without her hair looking flat. And I just don't know if that is possible or if it even makes sense. So basically, I don't want like a whole bunch of shadows throughout her hair. Obviously, we're going to need some. But it's going to be a little bit different than I think I've ever colored hair before. So for the most part here, I'm just focusing on adding shadows where the hair kind of like starts from an area. And I don't think I want to put shadows where it disappears behind them like I usually do. I don't know. I don't know what I want at this point. I mean, I know what I want, but I don't know how to get it. It'll be interesting. I like how it's looking so far. I'm so scared to mess this up though. I don't even know if I want it much darker than this. Let's try a little bit on her roots here. Maybe a little bit darker, because otherwise it is just all going to look like one color. So I think in some sections it needs to be a bit darker. So let's start here. And I am not pushing any harder at all. I'm just adding more layers because I don't want to get anywhere close to burnishing this, because if I need to save it and make it lighter, obviously I'm limited with how light I can make it, but if I went over with white, it would lighten this up quite a bit and kind of help save it if it needed that. So I don't know. Just kind of have to see what happens. I'm gonna go a little bit darker up here and a little bit farther. gotta keep in mind that if I do decide to outline all of her hair in white, it's gonna look very light anyways, so I'm just unsure if I want to do that because I outlined the leaves. So I think if I outlined her hair as well, it might be too much, but I don't know. This is also just like a mess of hair here. I don't even know what to do with this. And by mess, I mean it's beautiful, but it's all over the place. So it's kind of hard to figure out where it's starting and going. Okay, I want where the hair starts. Oh, so technically that shouldn't have been colored. I'm going to actually erase that, I think. Just this little section right here. This one, make a little bit longer back here. Okay, let's come in with our hot pink, which at this point I think is going to look pretty much just like the process red because they're very similar in color. But let's just bring this out a little ways. Still working with that super, super light pressure. I should also make sure you guys can see all of the hair. I know you can see the top. So you can see this piece. That's the lowest. So yeah, you should be able to see all of it. Okay, we're good. Okay, I think I've got a better understanding of how I want this. It's looking very pretty, so happy about that. Okay, I think the Deco Peach would be our next color. So let's just kind of lightly add this in. And this will probably go like right around the tips, I think. I might need to add some more pink on that one though. Okay, this piece here. Just gonna check my references and see what everybody else did with that. Okay, hair. I think hair. 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 I just think if this isn't hair, it would add a little bit of interest having that little bit of green poking through it. One of the things I love about these hairstyles is having all the like individual strands. It really adds a really nice whimsical feel to it. So if we can kind of add into that, like I think this is probably the only strand that would be able to do it with. Have this as grass, having that green poking through. It would look pretty. I think we're gonna do that. I'm gonna color this as grass. Just got these two hair strands here. I like how soft this looks. I think it would be too much with her hair. Outlined in white though. I don't think I'm gonna outline her hair in white. So let's go in with a little bit more pressure. I'm gonna make this process red stand out a little bit more. So anywhere where the hair is kind of coming out from behind hair, like where it starts from, that's where we're gonna add our process red. And this one we can bring out a little bit further. I want this hair. In real life, I want this hair. Okay, so then from there, I'm pretty happy with everything else. I think we just need to add a little bit extra color so that way it doesn't get lost when we go in to burnish everything together. So the goal is to kind of bring the hot pink out from the processed red and then fade it out and leave some areas where we can have the, the Deco Peach. Because the processed red and the hot pink are very similar, and the Deco Peach is really going to add a little bit of contrast between those two colors. So these longer strands, we can bring it down a little ways and then fade it out, have the Deco Peach take over there. So we're not going to add as much to the shorter strands, but any strands that are a little bit longer, we can add a little bit more. Doing several layers to really get that color over the tooth of the paper so we don't lose it later on. It gets a little chaotic around here because it's hard to see what is what. Okay, so this one, I don't really want to bring out the pink too much farther than this, but I do want to add a little bit of the pink just on the tips of both of these, because otherwise I think they're going to look a little bit too bland. I'm like a little bit worried about this one too, but I don't know. Let's maybe add a little bit of pink here. Break the rules for this one. Yeah, I think that looks good. And then in with the Deco Peach, I don't want to lose this color. Not by much anyway. So I'm going to put a really sharp point on my pencil. I'm going to start in at the tips and I'm going to work my way back and kind of blend this into the other colors we have. And I'm going to layer this quite a bit. I'm using a very, very soft pressure because especially with having a sharper point, I don't want to damage the tooth too much. keep drinking my green juice before it gets warm because it's not as yummy when it's warm. And that looks so pretty. And we're not even at an hour and a half yet, so that is awesome. Okay, I think the sky blue light is the color that I'm wanting, but I'm just gonna check and see. I think maybe the cloud blue might actually be better. It's hard to see on that. Let me grab my actual swatch book here. No, I'm gonna stick with the sky blue light. We're just gonna start on like one of these smaller ones to see what it would look like. Ooh. And then we're gonna continue. So this is gonna give her hair a little bit of a blue glow. It's still gonna stay pink. It's gonna burnish it quite nicely. It's gonna make it look very unique. Look at that color. Yes, 100% yes. And that is absolutely gorgeous. Yep, I am a little bit obsessed. Just a little bit. Okay, I would actually like to do her eyes, but I'm a little bit nervous for them. Let's start with our black Posca and work off from there. I'm gonna have to turn the book to do these eyelashes though. There we go. A little fluffier for eyelashes, but I think it looks good. Can't really touch her her eyes until they dry, but we'll add a little bit of sparkle to them as soon as they're dry. Okay. I like how this looks. I'm gonna do something that's a little bit weird. And it might seem redundant. I'm just gonna gently take my blender pencil and I'm gonna rub this along the Posca, not hard enough to scratch it off at all. I should clean my pencil first. Make sure your pencil's clean. So this is just gonna kind of dull down the black a little bit. Make it so it's not quite as strong. There we go. So now we'll add in our white. So I'm just gonna add a couple little sparkles in her eyes here. I'm gonna add a little bit over the areas that my blender pencil kind of got a little bit dirty, and then I am going to kind of underline her lower lid here. Let's see, do we want to do anything different for sparkles in her eyes, or do we want to kind of leave it like this? Let's maybe make this dot a little bigger. Turn that into a line. And then just add like a couple little dots for some extra sparkle. I think that's good. Just gonna very, very, very carefully kind of put a little bit of a white line just above her upper lip here. Make her lips stand out a little bit too. Okay, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and zoom on out. There we go. I think she's looking amazing so far. I really hope you guys agree. I hope you're as excited as I am to finish this. We only have 2 more parts. I so cannot wait. And I guess that means I better get deciding on what we're going to do. I think I have a general idea for the mushrooms. I think I want to go with like more of almost like this color, but a little bit more yellow, kind of like chanterelle mushrooms. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I think they're the color that I'm thinking in my head. So we could probably do those with maybe some like dark brown spots or like white spots. And then we'll have to figure out our greens. Our flowers are going to be pink. These little berries are going to be pink. And that's pretty much it. We're going to take major inspiration from Clair McCormick here, and we are going to do this sparkly trail as well because I absolutely loved the effect that that gave on hers, and since ours is pretty neutral and not as magical as hers, it'll kind of add a little bit of that extra magical touch. So yeah, really excited to finish this, and I think that's it. If you guys like this video, if you could give it a thumbs up to please the algorithm gods, that would mean a lot to me, and hopefully I will see you in part 4. Alright guys, as always, take care and see you next time. Bye!